Hey class, how you doing? It's your boy Astro, as you know.
It's back. The Astro Einstein School of Astrology is happy to bring to you the Spring 2024 Beginner's Astrology course. Here's where it all begins. And now returning, the exciting intermediate level. For the stellar students who have graduated the beginner's course and want to learn more, it's your time.
I'm here to share the amazing experience I had taking Astro's Einstein Beginner's Astrology course.
My experience, I came in only really knowing about my sun sign. I was in a class with people who knew their whole natal chart. I was a little intimidated.
You know, we learning new things, new ways, new exciting things that other people not really learning. So
I just want to share that if you're looking for somebody to invest in so that way you become well-renowned in astrology, these are going to be the classes to take, which is with Astro.
The ways I've grown and just understanding myself, my son, my family, the world, how I show up in the world, it's truly impacted me. And I would highly recommend, if you want to know more about yourself, more about how things work.
I had the opportunity to learn a lot about myself, my personality, why I'm the way I am in this lifetime.
I'm going to continue to keep taking the classes because it's astrology. The sky's the limit, and he's an amazing teacher.
if you're into these type of things, if you love these type of things, I definitely highly recommend you join the class. I'm actually going to be taking a course next semester. I'm getting back in.
I cannot wait to go to intermediate and beyond. I feel extremely fulfilled. So 10 out of 10, I recommend.
It's just a beautiful experience. What are you waiting for? Sign up, enroll. You're missing out.
Now that you've heard it from our stellar students, why wait? Register today. And be sure to visit the website for more information and other services. We look forward to seeing you in class soon.
All right. How y'all doing today? It's your boy Astro coming at you again. As you know, I go down the rabbit hole. And when I go down the rabbit hole, I take you guys with me. That's right. I'm going to take you down the astrological rabbit hole. Y'all, when I tell you that everything and everyone is so connected, y'all have no idea. So I have about, as you know, a lot more, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 persons that are interconnected to when I first talked about, remember, when I talked about Elijah Muhammad and Farad Muhammad and going into Yahweh ben Yahweh and going into these other black people and going into so and so. They are so connected, y'all have no idea. It is a beautiful thing. Now, as you know, I am going about the charts of the most influential people, black people, in the earth, on the earth, that, you know, especially in America. And when I tell you that it is oh my gosh, it's so amazing. First of all, I want to give acknowledgement to all the people who are here watching. You are the MVP. I truly appreciate you. And clap. You know, by you being here, you help the algorithm for these videos to be shown everywhere. I appreciate you for being here. I appreciate you guys. And it's a wonderful pleasure to bring to you astrology in a way that we can look at people that we've either known or heard about or have not even heard about and follow their life and what they've done and really connect it to their astrology chart. Well, today's lesson, if you really want to call it that, is on Huey P. Newton. For those who don't know who Huey P. Newton is, Huey P. Newton was the founder of the Black Panther movement. That's right. Assalamu alaikum. Malaikum assalam. You see what I'm saying? And his life was really, really, controversial. Some of the things that, is still implemented in the United States today that helps Black communities have roots in the Black Panther organization and movement. Okay. So with that being said, he, which is deceased now, would have played a major role in the civil rights and reform of Black communities in the United States of America. It's unfortunate that a lot of you don't know him, never heard of his name. All you know is Black Panther. And even when you think about Black Panther, people think about the movie Black Panther, because that was orchestrated for you to forget about your roots and exactly what took place in America itself. It was like, oh, and even though Black Panther is a very good movie, it's still sort of overshadowed what the Black Panther movement did in the United States of America. Of which, upon my research, was like, wow, because I'm a Black Panther movie. I love Black Panther. But then when I realized what they did was they whitewashed or blackwashed it, but another way, to removing exactly what the organization was trying to do, which is revolutionize. And in some degree, change what was going on with Black people, and even up to this day. Okay. So the topic at hand is this man right here. His name, and I'm going to show you a very iconic picture. And I'm sure some of you have seen this picture before. This Black Panther picture of a man holding a gun and a spear. That right there is Huey P. Newton. For those who don't know, I'm going to give you a little insight to who Huey P. Newton was. Now, Huey P. Newton was an African-American revolutionary and political activist who founded the Black Panther Party. He ran the party as his first leader and crafted his 10-point manifesto with Bobby Seale. Now, that was in 1966. Now, under Newton's leadership, the Black Panther Party founded over 60 community support programs, including like food banks, medical clinics, sickle cell anemia tests, prison busting for families and inmates, legal advice, seminars, clothing banks, housing cooperatives, and their own ambulance service. The most famous of those programs was the Free Breakfast for Children program, which fed thousands of impoverished children daily during the early 1970s. Now, Newton also co-founded the Black Panther newspaper service, which became one of America's most widely distributed African-American newspaper. In 1967, he was involved in a shootout, which led to the death of a police officer, John Frey, and injuries to himself and other police officers. In 1968, he was convicted of voluntary manslaughter for Frey's death and sentenced to 2 to 15 years in prison. In May 1970, the conviction was reversed, and after 2 subsequent trials and in hung juries, the charges were dropped. Now, there's a reason why they were hung juries, but we're going to get to that, okay? Later on in his life, he was also accused of murdering Caitlin Smith and Betty Van Patter, although he was never convicted for either one of those deaths. That's another controversial death, the Caitlin Smith and the Betty Van Patter, all right? Newton learned how to read using Plato's Republic, which influences his philosophy of activism. He went on to earn a PhD in social philosophy from the University of California at Santa Cruz History of Consciousness program in 1980. In 1989, he was murdered in Oakland by Tyrone Robinson, a member of the Black guerrilla family. Newton was known for being an advocate of self-defense and used his position as a leader within the Black Panther Party to welcome women as well. Now, I mention that because y'all have to understand what this leads to. So it leads to this. I'm gonna give you the end story of what I'm going to lead to days after this, like other lives. I'm gonna talk about it. So if you didn't know, okay, since you didn't know, I'll explain this to you. So the Black Panther movement was funded by this man here, Muammar al-Gaddafi. That's right. It was funded by Muammar al-Gaddafi. That means the guns, the money, every single thing was connected to Gaddafi. Now when I get to Gaddafi, y'all gonna be like, whoa, this is some conspiracy shit you digging up here, Astro. You better be careful. Because when I tell you it's deep, it's deep. So he funded not only that, but remember when we talked about, let me see if I can find his picture. We talked about a particular person, all right? And I know y'all remember me mentioning it. It was this man right here. Let me try to find his picture. When we were trying to figure out where this man getting all this money from, and we was like, this man is getting all kind of money, and we don't know where it's coming from. You know, we was really upset because we were trying to figure out what it was. But remember this guy, Yahweh Ben Yahweh. When we were trying to figure out, like, his bank account just kept on rolling. Everybody was trying to figure out what was going on. Remember that? Remember him? Okay, that's another one. And remember this guy also. I'm gonna put this picture because I have so much pictures here. This guy right here, Malachi York, Dr. Malachi Z. York. Remember him? Well, apparently, Gaddafi also funded him too. It gets deeper than Gaddafi, y'all. It gets real deep. But I don't want to take you on a rabbit hole. That's for another 3. I have 3 more people to do before we get to Gaddafi. It's crazy. It's crazy, y'all. All right, but I'm here doing the research for you guys so I can educate you on how this, we got here in the first place. So back to, Huey and talking about what happened with him. Okay. Then this is something else. Okay. So Newton was born in Monroe, Louisiana, in 1942 during the World War, and he was the youngest child of Armelia Johnson and Walter Newton. Okay, they were sharecroppers, and he was a Baptist preacher. As you see, most of these people come from preachers, from almost every single one we talked about. They always say that the preacher's children always turn out to be the worst. That's what they say. I don't know. All right. Well, there was a lot of, lynching going on around that time. And, equal justice wasn't something that was happening. And they moved. They migrated to Oakland, California. And, the second wave of the Great Migration. And during that time, he saw a lot of abuse. He really was like, you know what? What are we going to do as Black people that we seem so hopeless? All right. So he graduated from Oakland Technical High School in 1959, and he attended Merritt College, where he earned an associate's degree in in what did he associated? An associate's degree in arts. All right. Now, a lot of things was happening to him when he wrote inside his book, The Revolutionary Suicide. He said most of the question was happening around his family and community around him. He felt as if he had to take a stand. And as a student at the Merritt College, Newton became involved in Bay Area politics, Afro American Association as the AAA, and he became a prominent member of the Psi Beta Sigma fraternity. All right, that's the Beta Tau chapter, and played a role in getting the first African American history course adopted as part of the college curriculum. That's right. He was the reason why you can study African history in Black schools and schools today. Newton learned about Black history from Donald Warden, who later would change his name to Khalid Abdullah Tariq al-Mansur, the leader of the AA. Later, Newton concluded that Warden ordered solutions that didn't work. And in his autobiography, Newton says of Warden, the mass media, the oppressors, give him public exposure for only one reason. He will lead the people away from the truth of their situation. I was trying to quote him like how he said it during the video that I watched. In college, Newton read the works of Karl Marx and Vladimir Lenin and Franz Fanon and Malcolm X and Mao Zedong and Che Guevara. And, that sort of helped with his need to revolutionize his people. All right. So during that time in Merritt School, he met with Bobby Seale, who also helped to co-found the Black Panther movement, with whom he, grew an affinity with, not in a sexual way or any of that, just man to man. Seale became chairman and Newton became the minister of defense, which means that they trained the people how to fight back if they were attacked by mobs of white people. All right. The Black Panthers Party beliefs were greatly influenced by Malcolm X, which is one of the people whose chart we are going to do. I have no idea how deep this is. Therefore, the words of the page cannot convey the effect that Malcolm had on the Black Panther Party. As far as, I'm concerned in the party, it was a living testament of his work. The Black Panther movement was connected to Malcolm X in a very soft way, if you want to put it like that. All right. Now, the party's political goals included better housing, jobs, education for Americans, African Americans, that is. And they documented a 10-point program as a set of guidelines to the Black Panthers Party ideas and the ways it operated. Now, Newton adopted what termed revolutionary humanitarianism or humanism. All right. Although he was previously an attendee of the Nation of Islam mosque, he was upset with the Nation of Islam. That's right. Faroud Muhammad, Elijah Muhammad, and all of the others. He was like, okay, y'all, this is something. Y'all ain't making no sense. However, what he didn't understand is, and if y'all remember who Faroud Muhammad was, I give you a picture of who he was, the founder of the Nation of Islam. It's this man right here. He actually was not a black man. He is from Libya. That's right. The same place where Gaddafi is from. He was the founding member, saying he was there to liberate the black people, even though he himself wasn't black, which also was the teacher of Elijah Muhammad. Y'all see where we're going with this? Okay. Who was an affiliate of Yahweh ben Yahweh. All tied together, sugars. Who was also connected to Malachi York. If you didn't know, better ask somebody. So back to the story of Newton, because we're gonna get to who he was as a person, not just Well, he was an educated man, very smart, got a doctor's degree, and like I said, he did the free breakfast for children program. However, he was moon is close. He was accused of embezzling $600,000 of state aid to the Panther-founded Oakland Community School. In the wake of embezzlement charges, and they say embezzlement. Y'all know exactly what embezzlement means, right? Okay. Embezzlement charges. Newton disbanded the Black Panther Party only subsequently because of that conversation in 1982. Now, remember now, 1982 was very close to when he got killed. Anyway, the embezzlement charges were dropped 6 years later, March 1989, after Newton pleaded no contest to a single allegation of cashing a check of only $15,000. That's not only, that's a lot of money, right? But $15,000 was personal use. He was sentenced to 6 months in jail and 18 months probation. So we're going to look in his chart to see if we see stolen goods, money. If he's a thief, we're going to look at all these stuff. Now, the fatal shooting of John Frey, which is the police officer. Now Newton, was being convicted of assault with a deadly weapon for repeatedly stabbing another man who was Odell Lee with a steak knife in the mid-1964. That's right. Your boy Newton didn't play. Now, he served 6 months in prison, only because for the fact of the matter is it was literally a self-defense. This is why he wanted to teach self-defense to the Black Panther movement. All right. Now, after being freed from prison, right, directly after leaving the prison, a white police officer stopped and pulled him over. They realized it was him, and they called for backup. Officer John Frey called for Herbert Haynes, and shots were fired. All three were injured. Now, there's a story behind it. I want to get you understanding about the shooting. It so happened that John Frey was on this end, and Herbert Haynes was on this end, and in the middle was, that's right, Hugh. Hugh was in the middle, okay? Huey Newton was in the middle. And it so happened, now this is what is being said. Now, Haynes testified that the shooting began when Newton was under arrest, and one witness testified that Newton shot Frey with Frey's own gun as they wrestled. No gun on either Frey nor Newton was found. Now, Newton stated that Frey shot him first, which made him lose consciousness during the incident. So, but what happened truly was, and allegedly, don't come for me. Allegedly, okay, Herbert Haynes accidentally shot Frey a couple of times because he was shooting in the direction of, that's right, Huey Newton. No gun was found on you, neither so-and-so. It's because the bullet found in Herbert Haynes, the other officer, if they had found the gun, they would have realized that the bullet that was lodged in him was from the other police officer. Okay? So, Newton stated that Frey shot him first. He lost consciousness. Now, Frey was shot 4 times and died within the hour, while Haynes was left in serious condition with 3 bullet wounds. That's the other police officer. These white dudes couldn't hit the mark. They couldn't shoot each other. They couldn't shoot nobody. They literally shot each other. Bah, 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 bah. Could you imagine only getting hit once in your abdomen and these 2 police officers who are definitely racist are shooting? Who trained these people? Who taught them how to shoot a gun? They don't know color. Oh my God, they wasn't even supposed to be on the police force. They shot each other from different directions. Where the man got a gun being released directly out of prison? Where could he find the gun? Huh? Makes no sense. But either which way, all I'm saying is these dudes were a bunch of dummies who they probably needed glasses. We could have donated some glasses to them. It'd have been better off. We'd have had a better history talking about this whole situation. You know, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Now, Black Panther David Hillard took Newton to Oakland Case Hospital, where he was admitted with a bullet wound to the abdomen. Newton was soon handcuffed to his bed and arrested for phrase killing. That's because the only one who survived was the other police officer who clearly needed glasses. Dr. Thomas Finch and nurse Corinne Leonard attended Newton, and when he arrived at the hospital, and Finch said that Newton was agitated and asked for treatment, and the Newton was what they gave him was they gave him tranquilizer to calm him down. It was like this gorilla looking man, he big, strong, because dude was in jail lifting weights. Dude got pumped. Okay, let me show you how dude looked when they handcuffed this dude. Okay, dude was beefed up. I know that nurses were scared of that man. They was like, this nigga gonna kill us. They're like, this, look at it. This dude gonna kill us. All right, look at his traps. That dude had the clear look like, I don't know what you heard about me. Like he had that 50 Cent look. So whilst he was locked up inside the hospital, you know, those nurses, they were really, really afraid. Okay. Now, Newton was convicted in September 1968 of voluntary manslaughter for the killing of Frey and was sentenced to 2 to 15 years in prison. And in 1970, the California Appeal Court reversed the conviction and ordered a new trial. The reason why they ordered a new trial, because they knew they had effed up. They knew that Herbert Haynes, the officer Herbert Haynes, lied. So in order for him to keep they fired him, I think, or they released him from his duties. And they found out that the man didn't shoot anybody. Now, they tried to reconvict him, and that failed as well. And they tried to pursue for a third time. And in the fourth time, the judge was like, listen, the district attorney said, we are not going to pursue a fourth trial. We're spending all kind of money, and we don't know that this white police officer already did it. Okay, we ain't trying to cause him to go to jail, neither nobody else. Now, there was somebody who was in jail at that time. Okay. There was a person in jail who wrote a different story. His name was Huey Person. And he wrote a book called The Shadow of the Panther. He writes that Newton, while intoxicated, boasted about having willfully killed Frey. You know, if you're in prison, and somebody say, hey, yo, I heard you kill that police officer, yo. Good looks, man. You think that he was going to be like, oh, no, I didn't kill him. I was trying to make sure children have food to eat and make sure the community is safe. That dude was like, hell yeah, man. I did that. Yeah. Now, y'all in prison fear me because I don't want nobody trying to take my butthole. You hear me? You got to be smart. So he had these conversations. So to me personally, that's my, allegedly, that's my belief about it. Okay. Now there was a Free Huey campaign. All right. He pleaded not guilty for the murder. The Black Panther immediately went to work organizing a coalition to rally behind Newton and champion his release. In December, Peace and Freedom Party, a majority of white anti-war political organization, joined with the Black Panther. That's right. Majority white and anti-war political organization. You see why I tell you? We be talking about, black, the white people help the man to come out of. So for those people, there's like, what's going on? Y'all getting soft. Y'all letting the white people help y'all. But he helped boost the credibility of the party within the community and more radical activists. Now, underneath the leadership of the Black Panther Party and the Peace and Freedom Party, 5,000 protesters gathered in Oakland and on Newton's birthday, February 17, 1968, in the support of Newton, they garnered the attention of international news organizations and raising profile in the party by astounding measures. Now, take in mind now that had happened, money started just filtering into the Black Panthers party, even more so. Now, Caitlin Claver claimed the goal of the Free Hugh campaign was to alleviate Newton as a symbol of everything the Black Panther stood for, creating something of a living martyr. All right, so that was the plot of making him the living martyr. He visited China, met with different people. Okay, and this is where question that he met, that Seeley and him, because he didn't mention it, met with officials of the Islamic group and also Chinese communist groups to try to, in a secret way, overturn. Now, this is where that guy came into play. We talked about him, we mentioned him, and we did him. Remember this guy? J. Edgar Hoover. That's right. This is when he started to follow the Black Panther movement, and he got a listing of all the people from the Black, and he started just connecting them because they did this international trip with all these communists and all these other people who were against the United States of America. Okay? All right? So that's what happened with that. Now, after coming back, he, after that, being released from, so there's another thing. I want y'all to understand what happened. Woo, because this gets deeper, okay? Apparently, in 1977, in January, Jim Jones, remember Jim Jones? The leader of the Temple of the Disciples of Christ, commonly shortened for the People's Temple, visited Newton in Havana, Cuba, where he moved because, he was being attacked and so. And the reason, I'm going to get the reason why he moved to Canada, to Cuba. Now, remember if y'all don't know who James Jones is, he was the guy who, they say, don't drink the Kool-Aid. That was the guy the cult leader, all right? The one who had 900 of his members drink the Kool-Aid and die. A forced suicide, it was called. Now, there was other allegations about the guy, about Huey Newton. In 1970, he was alleged to become increasingly paranoid and addicted to crack cocaine. And he was prone to violent behavior, it said. He lost a tremendous amount of weight, but he gained it eventually. However, in 1974, they said that he was underneath influence. And a 17-year-old native child prostitute was killed. Her name was Caitlin Smith. And she died 3 months later after being shot. According to prosecutors in handling the case and eyewitnesses, Newton is believed to have shot Smith after a casual exchange on the street, during which she referred to him as, "Hey, baby. Hey, baby." That's what almost all prostitutes back in the day would call you, "Hey, baby." And that was a nickname that Huey Newton did not like. He hated that nickname. And there are some allegations, allegedly, that a main witness testified that he pulled out his gun and attempted to assassinate her. Now, after they tried to charge him with this murder, there was a deadlocked jury that Newton was not convicted, so that didn't happen. Now, not only that, Newton also, because he liked the style, he was going to wear this suit. And the tailor who was creating the suit, he actually pistol whipped the tailor. This was in 1974, the same year that Caitlin Smith was killed. All right. Now he was also arrested again for the murder of Smith, was unable to, he paid his bond. His girlfriend at the time, which is now was his wife, Gwen Fontaine, which I'm going to show you all a little bit about his wife. If you want to know who his wife is, This is him and his wife. Okay. This is him. Let me pull up his picture. So this is him and Gwen, wife and husband. That's them right there. Okay. That's them right there. That comes in later on. I think 3 people down when I do another one of these things. It's gonna tie into that. All right. So, you know, so they fled to Havana, Cuba, where they lived until 1977, which prevented, the United States government from charging them. All right. Now, whilst that happened, Elaine Brown, that's right, shout out to Browns, took over the chairman of Black Panthers in his absence. When Newton returned to the United States in 1977, he to stand trial for Smith's murder and the assault on Taylor. Now, this is where it gets a little twisted. Okay. So in October of 1977, 3 Black Panthers attempted to assassinate Crystal Gray. That was a key, like a witness in Caitlin Smith's murder. She was like another child prostitute that was in, Smith's friend. And unknown to the assailants, they attacked the wrong house, and the occupants in the other house returned fire. Yo, these dudes was dummies. They went to the wrong house and shot up the wrong house. They literally shot up the wrong house. You hear me? It is crazy. They shot up the wrong house. And the occupants returned fire. During the shutout, one of the Panthers, Lewis Johnson, was killed. And the other 2 assailants escaped. One of the 2 surviving assassins was Flores Forbes. He fled to Las Vegas, Nevada, with the help of Black Panther paramedic Nelson Malloy. Now, Flores Forbes, which I'm going to show you right now. Flores Forbes, I could pull this picture up. There he is. Went on to be, a book writer, a natural person in society. Yeah, and this is Nelson Malloy when he was younger. Okay. Now hold on to Nelson Malloy because we're going to get to him in a minute. Now, Nelson Malloy he worked for the paramedics in that Black Panthers movement. Okay. Now, believe it or not, in November 1977, Malloy was found in a park rangers, paralyzed from the waist down from bullet wounds to the back in a shallow grave in the desert outside of Las Vegas. Now, according to Malloy, he and Forbes were ordered by higher ups to be killed or to be eliminated so that they would have no eyewitness accounts on the attempted murder of Crystal Gray. Now, Malloy recovered from the assault and told police that the fellow Panthers, Roland Reed and Alan Lewis, who I have no pictures of, were behind his attempted murder. Now, Newton denied any involvement, any knowledge, and said that the events might have been the result of overzealous party members trying to become leaders. After the assassination attempt on Crystal Gray, she declined to testify against Newton. After 2 trials and 2 deadlocked juries, the prosecution decided not to retry Newton for Smith's murder. It was like, yo, she was just a prostitute. How much are we going to waste our money trying to convict this man? Now, during the Newton trial for, assaulting the Taylor, who changed his testimony several times, eventually told the jury that he did not know who assaulted him because he knew that Newton was a psycho, or was he a saint? However, Newton was charged with a possession of a legal firearm and served 9 months in prison in 1987. Now, this is another thing. In 2007, Erica Huggins stated in an interview that Newton reportedly raped her and threatened that if she told anyone, he would hurt her children. Okay. Now, this is an allegation, allegedly, by her. Let me give you a picture of how she looked then. This is her. Then she's a cutie pie, ain't she? Nice little laughter, what have you. And this is her now. So the question is, would his own members or member lie on being raped repeatedly? We have no idea of that. Now we're going to come to his death in the early hours of August 22nd, 1989. Newton was murdered in front of 1456 9th Street near the corner of Center Street in the Lower Bottoms section of Oakland, California, within days. Tyrone Robinson was arrested as a suspect. Okay. Tyrone Robinson, this man right here. I can find this picture. Yes, I got it. So this is Tyrone Robinson, and he was a part of the Black Guerrilla family. This was a family or gang in prison. Okay. These were prison gang members who were like, when we get out of prison, we are going to overthrow the government. Apparently, they had ties to receiving money from not Gaddafi, but another faction. But that's another topic on its own. Like I said, it's all related. All right, so remember this guy, Nelson Malo? This is how he looked. All right, this was him standing next to Huey Newton as a Black Panther. So, of course, Huey Newton which is this guy, as you can see. They were all terrified of him. And you're going to see when we look at his chart why. So anyway, he killed our Huey Newton, cold-blooded. He was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to a sentence term of 32 years to life. The next time he'd be paroled will be in the next 4 years, in November 2028. Now, Robinson stated that his motive was to advance in the Black Guerrilla family, a Marxist-Leninist narcotic prison gang, in order to get a crack franchise, which means that somebody put a hit on Huey, and if he delivered it, he could go to jail and be a kingpin in jail. Now that we got the backstory of Huey, we understand, what he did in the past. Do y'all think that he was a saint? Look how saintly he looked there. Now, do y'all feel that he was a gangster? Or both? By looking into his chart, we can reveal who the man really was. Now, remember I told y'all, okay, even if like y'all have a little problem about discussing these conversations, I love you and I appreciate you. But we got to get to the bottom of things. And if you don't like it, then exactly. So let's pull up our guy. Since you read the backstory of who he is, let's pull up his chart. Tell me if you want me to pull up all this chart and I will give it right to you. All right, here we go. We're going to pull up his chart. All right. So looking at this, he was born February 17, 1942 at 12:30 a.m. Oak Grove, Louisiana. Now, as you can see, his ascendant, won't you look at that? Is Scorpio. Doesn't that sound familiar? Now we had three real strong affiliates of groups of people who believe in conquering and taking over, being Scorpio risings. Ascendant Scorpio. And as you can see, his degree is 22 degrees. Now, in numerology, the 22nd degree is a master number. The master number is known as a builder. This is the master builder number. If somebody's born on this 22nd degree of Scorpio as the ascendant, this is a person who will be seen as a master builder, somebody who, would want to build something. Now, we're going to get to that 22nd degree in a minute, and y'all going to be surprised of who else is underneath the radar who has their sun in the degree of 22. That's right. Astrology is so amazing. So looking at his chart, now I remember I talked to you about how if the ruler of the first house is sitting in the 12th house, or if the ruler of the 12th house is sitting in the first house, that person cannot escape jail. Remember we talked about that? Well, Libra, the sign of Libra. Now we are traditionally taught that, Libra is ruled by Venus. However, I beg to differ. With modern day astrologers like myself and others, we have come to the conclusion that Libra is ruled by the asteroid Juno. It's a fairly big asteroid. And if Juno is the ruler of Libra and is sitting in the first house, that means that prison, hospitals, asylums are places that this man would normally stay in. And as you could see, he stayed in both of them. Okay? So when the ruler of the 12th house is sitting in the first house, indication of that person can escape jail. Okay. Now, as you know, the sign of Scorpio rules sex, death, and regeneration. You try to figure out what he'll be to jail for. Well, because Scorpio rules death and sex and regeneration, transformation. As you can see, he was jailed for murder. He murdered one, well, that's what they said, three persons. So this would be evidently the reason why he would spend time in jail. As it pertains to his seeking power, we talked about how, and fame, we talked about when the ruler of the first house is sitting in the 10th house. And when the ruler of the first house is sitting in the 10th house, that is, as we know, the fame placement. This is where somebody becomes famous. With his ascendant being in Scorpio being ruled by Pluto in Leo, this would raise him to fame status. Now, I know some of y'all don't know him, but a lot of people in the Black community know exactly who he is and what he did. And at that point in time, he rose to prominence. Let me explain to you deeper. When we follow what we consider rulership, the ruler of the ascendant is sitting in the 10th house, is in Leo. Leo is ruled by the sun. The sun is in Aquarius, which rules reformation, change, revolution, these things. Okay? So as you can see, that's definitely a part of his destiny. Now, he has this thing right here, which is nemesis. Nemesis normally represents what you feel as if the enemy. And when it's sitting in the 10th house, a person who has nemesis in the 10th house always feels that the government is their enemy. And for him, because it's sitting in the sign of Leo, he felt as if the government was his enemy and he had to, for some reason, reform. All right? His homeland. Because you remember, Leo is ruled by the sun, and the sun is sitting in the 4th house of home, land. So he felt as if this was something that he had to do. This is definitely. So if you have somebody whose Pluto is sitting in the 10th house, they're never satisfied until they reach the pinnacle. And even when they reach there, it's just there isn't enough satisfaction for their life. Okay. They need more and more and more, and it's always going to continue to be that way until they decide on if it's enough. So we already know with the Pluto in the 10th house, there is a deep-seated need for power, external power. And if you have Pluto in the 10th house, we know if you do have it, then that'd be great. That's okay. All right. So that's a clear indication. If you have a family member, if you have a daughter, a child, a cousin, a husband, brother, sister, uncle, and the ruler of that first house is sitting in the 10th house, know that they will always, always be a cutthroat. Now, is he capable of murder? Based upon this chart, most definitely. The reason why we say that is because when looking at his chart, when the ruler of the, how should I put it, 8th house is in the sign of Aquarius, that's excellent, right? But he has it conjunct this asteroid here called Toro. Now, Toro is a sign that rules bullying. Okay? It rules being the bully. Could his actions be dealing with death or of that nature of killing? Yeah. And he could do it in a bullying way, which he did, allegedly. Don't come to sue me. All right. Now, receiving money from foreign countries. As a Scorpio rising, he has Sagittarius sitting on his second house. The Sagittarius rules foreign places, foreign cultures, foreign countries. In order to figure out exactly the nature of this money, we look to see where the ruler of Sagittarius is, and the ruler of Sagittarius is sitting in Gemini, in the 8th house of other people's money, investments. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and his Mercury is in Aquarius, conjunct Tauro, and Aquarius is ruled by Uranus in the 7th house, so on and so forth. So when we look at money, when it came to him, he received money from foreign entities. As a matter of fact, multiple different ones that was focused on reformation and bullying, some form of factor. So if y'all didn't know what we talked about earlier, when we mentioned about how Yahweh Ben Yahweh was paid to bully people, and for the white man, white folks to know that these groups of people can get them or anybody in America anytime, was allegedly the same people who were paying the Black Panther movement. And according to his chart, it seems to be valid. It seemed to be that this could be true. It doesn't seem just some allegation. It seems to be truthful. Okay. Now, the moon in the 5th house, south conjunct the south node in Pisces, and Neptune, the planet Neptune being in Virgo. This man probably felt as if he was doing work, and he did. His heart went out to children. The 5th house rules children. And with the moon being there, being conjunct the south node, he felt as if he needed to rescue children. So even though he was a gangster in some sort, he was also a saint. He felt as if he needed to rescue people, especially children. As it pertains to Mars and Taurus, when a man like that gets angry, it's very hard for him to get calmed down. So this is the reason why he takes it to the extreme when he gets upset. Now, this is only placements in the houses, y'all. Haven't even gone into the aspects of his life. I'm going to share that with y'all right now so we could share the screen. I'm going to share the screen so you can see what I'm looking at entirely. Okay. So by looking at the aspects of these things that we look in here, we look at the ascendant and we look at his characteristics. His ascendant is square his sun. You have a strong desire to become important or to gain esteem in life. You may tend to overwhelm other people with the power of your personality and display pride and attention-seeking tendencies. Difficulties may be experienced in your relation with others caused by arrogance. So, like we said, he didn't like being called baby. The reason why he shot that lady. All right. Now, even though he had that tendency, he also had a natural empathy coupled with the ability to make others feel at ease in his company. He enjoyed good relations with others because he's generally an easygoing, obliging, and able to adapt to most situations. Women play an important role in his life, and many contacts with him. Huh? The guy was the ladies' man with the plan. This is another aspect. A strong character. You express an assertive and occasionally forceful personality towards others. Your mind is direct and frank. You are ambitious for recognition and achieve success through your own efforts and self-motivation. You are a good organizer and like being in charge of situations. Giving orders or instructions to others comes naturally to you. You face life battles head on and are rarely daunted by much at all. Negatively, you can be pushy, argumentative, prepared to resort to bullying tactics to get your own way. Also, a tendency to rush into things without considering the consequences can place you in awkward situations. Patience isn't one of your strongest attributes. Now, looking at that chart, as you see, that's only one or two aspects of his chart. His chart is loaded with aspects that would literally have him being saint and gangster all at the same time. Now, like we talked about, his chart and his influence led to another person. And that person is Tupac Shakur's mother and stepfather. We getting into it. Y'all have no idea how deep the rabbit hole goes. I'm gonna give you a little hint. Now, the Tupac Shakur mom and stepdad influence of the Black Panther, goes against, and they were going against the idea of Clive Davis, who was, as you know, a Jew who has a major role in most of the musicians in this world now. That's right. Tupac Shakur's mom and dad questioned all of the musical stuff dealing with Clive Davis, who put Puff Daddy on to his stardom. It gets deep down the rabbit hole, y'all. It doesn't even end at Puff Daddy. We're going to get this. But I want to say that we're here at our hour. Is Huey P Newton a saint or a gangster? As we see, based upon just a few of his aspects and his placements, that he was definitely both. I want to thank you all for being here with me for my hour time. I just truly appreciate you. Like I said, you guys are the NVPs. I want to say a shout out to all my super people. Oh, first and foremost, let me just give a hit out to Holistic Cooking. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you. Thank you guys on my YouTube channel, my Facebook, who all are here. Oceana, I appreciate you. Everybody who's here, these are my sugar loves. All right, these people right here, they are my peoples. I appreciate you. Without you, I could not exist. Truly appreciate y'all. And as you know, until next time, stay thirsty. Tomorrow, we delve deeper down the rabbit hole of Black leaders and influential people that contributed to the way we live now. All right? I hope you'll enjoy the rest of your night. Good night.